I'm going to give you a quick overview of the camper here and then go into a little bit of the vehicle history towards the end of the video. So she's apparently a 3.4 litre diesel engine on a very small body. Somebody said it's an old telecom vehicle. It's been converted by two owners. 2 owners ago it was converted. She starts first pop and runs really smoothly. On startup, when she is cold, there is very small amounts of, actually probably moderate amounts of white smoke. Under load there's a little bit of white smoke. I'll just rev now so as that can be seen. The probably fairly reasonable for an engine of its age. It has done 500,000 kilometres or just over, which according to the diesel mechanic who I purchased it from is just the beginning of its life. So it's got a lovely carry box on the back which contains the water supply. That is the fresh water supply there, as well as this is the bucket that we use for the grey water. Gas bottle here, which can be included so as that you're up and ready to go. So the box is relatively difficult to open. It's quite tight and requires a bit of jimmying this way and that. It used to have a lock in there, I am assuming, before our time, and the lid doesn't fly up. Really hefty tow ball on there. I'll just turn the vehicle off so as that it is easier to hear. The interior of the cab is very well used. You can see there's rips in the seats here. There's missing things here. There's it's just very, very old. Both of the electric windows work, although they do squeak going up and down. All up here, it's just very old. When driving, whatever's up here squeaks a little bit. So it's quite noisy in the cab. It's quite noisy to drive. The engine is really strong. I have previously owned a camper that had a 1.8 litre diesel engine with a much bigger box body, and it struggled up hills. This, while it likes travelling at about 80 kilometres an hour, never struggles. It goes really well. The heating cooling works sort of. There's no AC installed. It looks like it's been taken out some years ago. The stereo turns on, but it doesn't work. I have at one point during our ownership had some sound. Little cup holder there, which is jolly handy. So 3 seats in the middle. You've got a lap belt and a standard belt. Everything else is pretty standard. It's an automatic. We've got the VTNZ WAF here until the 29th of the 8th. The panel on the outside there is a repair that was done previous to my ownership. I haven't had the time to put a bit of white on there to improve its look. So this is the drain outlet pipe. This is where the sink comes out, and there's a good amount of space in here if one wanted to mount a tank for grey water. There is also space on the other side in the old battery box. And as I said, we've just been using a bucket. So the entire underside of the vehicle has very recently been entirely sandblasted and resprayed. sandblasted in parts, as well as every other type of tool that's required to do a really fantastic job to get it looking really new. So it's a really good underside now. Let's try and give you a bit of a sort of a view there. So the front of the vehicle, there's what was a piece of ply has been removed from up there. It was coming away, so I've removed that and resprayed. On the roof we have installed a 250 watt solar panel, and as you can see, there's sort of roof racks up there. Coming around to the other side of the vehicle, I'll just finish the underside. So this was the old battery box. Batteries are now mounted inside because the previous owner set all of this up. The batteries were relatively new when I purchased the vehicle 2 years ago, and I have found that if the van is left, the truck is left without being turned over for more than about 6 weeks with the battery terminal connected, that the batteries will actually drain and I'll need to charge them before it can be started. If, however, I disconnect the terminal, it is able to last for a bit longer than that. It has been turned over every month or so anyway. Every couple of months. So moving inside, there is fairly rough interior. We have a sink here, power points. This could be a sleeping loft here above the driver's cab, although it wouldn't suit anybody over about 5'4". It's rather a short distance from side to side. There is a heated caliphant there, which works really well for bringing hot water into the sink. I think it's about a 90-litre fridge, and it is fantastic having a really good sized fridge. You'll see in the photos that there are squabs here. Those, of course, are included, as well as this board here is the board that goes down to make the bed. So the table then kind of goes behind over in this direction. The foam squabs then have a memory foam mattress on top of that, and it makes for a very comfortable sleep. We've got the fridge here. It is certainly not in perfect condition. There's a couple of rust spots down at the bottom and quite a bit of staining, but the fridge functions very well and keeps things cool. So the 240 volt outlets, which are dotted all around the camper, they are connected via an inverter. There's a 1500 watt inverter, and I believe it's about 120 or 180 amp hour deep cycle battery. And then over on this side, where we have a jack and usually a bin, we have the charge controller, which keeps the battery really good. So we can see the battery there is at full health on 13.8 volts. So that all works really well. We have used the camper primarily for summer camping, and it has been really fantastic. We've never had issues with the fridge, with the batteries running out, whilst we've had multiple devices charging, laptops and everything throughout the day, as well as the fridge running. There's also the LED light switch here, which powers some LED lights that flick on and create a nice ambience around the roof here. Can't really see it during the day, but at night time it looks quite epic. So the battery can support the fridge throughout the night, and as well as other device use, and then of course charges up again during the day, and that's with leaving the fridge on at night. So what have we got here? The last things, I guess, is the stove here. You've got a 2-burner hob, which can also, the hob can also flick around to become a grill for toast and the likes. Works really well. As we've mentioned, fresh water comes in from the tank outside. There's a switch down here for the pump. The water's a little bit empty at the moment, but it works nonetheless. So when we first purchased the camper, it didn't have any of the roof and insulation on here, and we had friends and family staying during winter, and we found an issue with condensation on the roof, which was originally just the fiberglass roof would drip during the night. And so we put the insulation and the roofing in. Now, as you can see over on this side, which is the front of the camper, there are a few poles, and these poles are actually holding the roof up, otherwise it droops down. Now you can see it's drooped down a little bit here, and you can see it's drooped down along the edge here. Basically, the liquid nails that has been used to hold the battens on has come unstuck and it's come off. I believe I may have attached the the plywood to the battens before it had properly dried, and so it's fallen off. So I am 6 foot, and with this ceiling I have to duck a little bit. Before this wooden ceiling and the insulation was added, I was able to stand up with my head just touching the roof. It definitely does improve the ambience, but if you are a person who's any taller than 5'9", you're going to scrape your head on this roof or going to need to duck. So that it's quite unfinished. I simply don't have the time to do any more to this. It is completely usable. It has been driven for well over 300 kilometers in the current state that it's in, and it's not falling off any further. It just fell off, basically what's fallen off the first time that it was ever driven a year and a half ago, after this had been attached. There's obviously more storage down here and great amounts of storage under here and under here. So you can see the walls have got bits of old tape on them. We recently redid the curtains, and this curtain will be replaced, as well as the curtain out the door here will be replaced with the blue one. This window doesn't open. It's simply jammed closed. It probably needs a good clean out along the track. You can see there's a bit of moldiness growing here. The camper has been parked in a very damp environment for the last 2 years, and the windows have suffered. You can see little bits of mold build up. So that is the roof here is the biggest con of the camper, and other than the roof not being perfect and not having a self-containment certificate, this camper is absolutely fantastic. It's ready to go. You can live in this right away. There's nothing that needs doing for it to be livable. There's nothing that needs doing for it to be drivable. If you do want to get a self-containment certificate, all that is needed is for a grey water tank to be put on the other side, as I mentioned at the start of the video. And then it would be fine, absolutely fine. Of course, you have to put a toilet in as well. A compact toilet would do. So a bit of history of the vehicle. I purchased the vehicle 2 years ago. I purchased it from a diesel mechanic who was heading over to Western Australia, and he said that the vehicle has a really strong engine. I don't know much about engines or vehicles, and he said it's got a really strong engine and it's just at the start of its life, which seems very odd to me, being a 500,000 kilometres into its driving. Apparently these engines can do several million kilometres. Please don't quote me on that. This is coming from another person who hopefully knows more than I did or do. So the engine is very good. Now, we purchased the vehicle without a certificate of fitness, without its COF. We replaced the front tyre on one side, and we did a lot of work underbody. We added the solar panel and the inverter and the batteries and the charge controller, and replace the curtains, and, as mentioned, did the roof. The rest of the vehicle is as we purchased it. I believe that the person we purchased from purchased the vehicle in 2020, and they purchased it from Turner's. Now, the person that they purchased it from was an older gentleman, and he had been living in it for many, many years. As far as the paintwork on the back is concerned, it looks like it was originally turned into a camper in Taranaki. What else is there to note? The tyres, front and rear, both have a great deal of tread. Hopefully that's visible in the photos if I had enough space for them. The rear tyres are slightly lower than the front, but there's a solid 5 or 6 mil tread in these rear tyres. There's a solid amount of tread in there. What else is a con of this vehicle? I think we've pretty much covered it. So it's old. It drives all right. There's no strange noises. It would be relatively easy to have it self-contained. It has a current COF. It will come with current road user charges. I've personally driven the camper around 2,500 kilometres, so it hasn't had a lot of use in the 2 years, but it's been kept ticking over. So another thing that is a con is that the clips that hold the cables, the solar cables on here, have come off. I will have those refastened for the new owner. The cap here is obviously missing. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. Viewing will be available, as mentioned, in the description. And that is all. Thank you for your time.